Hi, this is Jack at Jack's Transmissions, and today we're going to talk about your front drive prop shaft for your R35 GTR. There's two different sections of this shaft. There's the front shaft and the rear. So let's get under the car and I'll show you which is which. Okay, the areas of the prop shaft we're referring to here is we have a front section that bolts to the front diff, and then we have a rear section that goes to the trans. So basically, the best way to look at it here is this piece here is our divider. From this piece forward to the front of the car here, over to the front diff right there, this is all one piece right here. That is what we call the front section. The rear section is from this flange here all the way back to the trans. So you have the carrier assembly right here. You have, this mount right here that bolts to this. And it goes all the way back, the universal joint there that attaches to the transmission itself. And that's the section that we call the rear section. So from here back, rear section, here forward, front section. Okay, so as we can see, this one here would be the front shaft. This goes to the front diff right here, and then this goes over to the carrier area at the center of the shaft assembly. This piece here actually has a pretty high failure rate, and a lot of people don't know it. So hopefully this will help you spot an issue with your shaft with this video. So what happens is this tube is extraordinarily weak in these, and they twist very easily. And when they twist, what will happen is it'll knock it out of balance, and it'll start shaking under the car, especially at high speed when you're under full power. It could really wreak havoc under the car. I think back in the day when people used to break a lot of the OEM diff housings in their cars, it had to do with these, because anytime a front diff would come in that was blown up, this would have distortion to it. It would be completely out of balance. If you think about it, this is rotating at high speed. So if it's wobbling around and out of balance because it's all twisted, it's putting a lot of pressure on your front diff housing. So this is a very critical piece that a lot of people don't really look into. So if it is twisted, what will happen is at high speed in the car, if you're doing like a second or third gear pull, your passenger may complain that there's a vibration in the floorboard, especially if you're at full throttle. So if you feel that, pull the shaft out and put it on a flat surface like this. What you want to do is you want the flanges on each side to be up on your flat surface and flush. If one end is twisted up a little bit and the other end is flush, your tube is twisted. And another way you could tell is looking at the paint around the welds. We've seen some where they twist and you'll see chipping and peeling of the paint at each end where the weld is. If you see any of that, there's a problem. So what we do is these ends right here, these universal joints are actually really robust. They can withstand anything you throw at them. They're solid assembly. They're really, really good. So if these are in good shape, we try to leave them alone because there's nothing better than the OEM ends on these things. Anything aftermarket is weaker. So we try to keep this. We recondition these, make sure they're really nice. And then we replace the tube with a better gauge material. The tubes we use are much, much harder. They're less prone to twisting. And in my own personal car here, one of the very first ones we made about 10 years ago is still in this car. And I've blown up rear axles, which is detrimental to the front drive system. It sends all the power to the front. It shocks everything. It's survived that. It's survived front diff failures. It's survived ring and pinion failures, all kinds of stuff. So these have held up really, really well. I'm confident that if you replace it with one of ours, you'll never have to worry about it again for a very, very long time. So now we get to the rear section. This one's a little bit more complicated. The rear section has a carrier bearing on it. And the carrier is, just your standard rubber deal, but it's a single-sided piece of rubber here, and it falls apart. The platform is aging. These will rot, deteriorate. Everything will rip off of here, and it'll just come loose, and then your shaft is just, wobbling around in the carrier. So what we do is we upgrade the carrier to a much wider, thicker unit. So it's no secret, this is out of Toyota four-wheel drive. These are all heavy-duty four-wheel drive parts. And you can see it's a lot wider. It's, it's got a lot more meat to it. There's a lot more area here to stabilize the shaft. You have rubber like you see here, but it's on both sides. You have it on this side and on this side. And if this looks familiar, there are people that have tried to make these shafts using these carriers in the past and they failed. And the reason they failed is because when they weld everything together here, when they put it together, they're not squeezing it together tight enough. It's too loose. So the rubber in here falls out and you're always having problems or you're having to put the rubber back in and vibration issues and stuff. We don't have that issue here. We have a jig set up to put these in and set them up nice and tight, so you never have to worry about the rubber coming out. They always stay intact. And another nice thing we do is the OEM bracketry here. We cut it off the OEM unit and we put it on the new carrier. And that makes it really easy to install these into the car. It's just like OEM. Fits absolutely perfectly every time. Just like that. A very minimal distance between the carrier and the housing and the plate here. It's absolutely perfect every time. Really, really nice fit. And you use the stock bolts in here, the stock fasteners. It's just like factory. Really, really nice fit. Makes everything super easy. So another upgrade that we do to these is the stub shaft. As you can see with this picture here of a broken shaft, the stub in the factory unit is really tiny and it can't take much torque or shock before it shears off, just like in that picture. So as we can see here, this hole is really small for the stub shaft. Our stub shaft is at least double the size of the OEM. We've never had these break in any of our 7-second cars. My own personal car has had this on there for a very long time. It's been through hell and back. Never had a problem with this. So stub shaft, nice meaty stub shaft. And we also make our own flanges as well. We make these here at Jack's Transmissions to fit the stub shaft. And like with anything here, we try to design them, thoughtfully. It's a pretty good fit. So everything fits really nice. So we take the end of the shaft here that goes onto this cup where it bolts together. We have an edge here, and we have like a little mating edge here. It goes in together just nice and neat. It's a nice snug fit. So everything is in alignment, so you don't have any balance issues when you put it together. It's perfect every time. And we take a look at this here. This whole area that is known to break on this shaft, we have a much bigger carrier. We have the huge stub shaft in there and our perfectly designed mating flange onto the assembly. So this whole area that is known to break, you never have to worry about again. It will not break no matter what happens with these parts. So the only thing we can't really service on the shaft, we could do the tube as well, and we replace the tube along with everything on this end. So everything from here forward, we replace. This end here, this is a little CV joint in here, and we can't service these. I'm trying to see if I can find parts for them. I'm trying to see if maybe we can manufacture some parts here to replace in these, but these are extraordinarily reliable. I've never seen these break. The only problem they have is the rubber boot in here. If this rubber boot cracks or rips and you see grease coming out, then your shaft isn't a good core for a rebuild. You need to find another one, and then we can beef it up for you. So that's about it. So yeah, a little jig we made here for our brackets for the carrier. So it turns out real nice. Obviously I have a spare, support plate here from a GTR to double check our work when it's done, so we know it's perfect every time. I hope it gives you an idea of what goes into a front prop shaft for these. We believe that our design is the best in the business. We really put a lot of attention to detail on all of these parts to make sure fitment is perfect every time. It's going to work and last a very long time. At Jack's Transmissions, front prop shafts, we make them here too. Thanks.